All right, welcome back to converting a Freewing T33 to a turbine. This is episode number 2. The first episode we cut out the fuselage for the tank, and if you come over here, I finished working on that. I got the fit what I consider acceptable for me. We did the carbon paper technique. I thought it worked really well. We got a hole cut up, or a slot cut up in here for the wires to go through, and it matches up pretty good on this side, so I'm happy with that. The tank is just a little bit above this, like we talked about. I think it's totally acceptable. So in this episode, what we're going to do is, the tank is pretty much, it can't go up, it can't go forward, so we're gonna make a fitting like this, which I made last night, and we're gonna make another one. This is gonna bond on to the bottom of the wing, and that's gonna keep the tank from moving down and aft. So I'm gonna show you how we do this. We're gonna do it all in one step, and besides that, we're going to get rid of this. We're going to make a little receptacle to hold the UAT in place while we're doing a layup. So remember, we cut a hole in there for the UAT. We're going to make this right here at the same time. Just 2 layers of fiberglass, doesn't weigh nothing. And that's going to go right there. And that's just going to get fastened with 2 screws on the red dots to the existing battery mounting rails. So let's go ahead and get this going here. What I like to do first is, I don't know how familiar you guys are with composites. I've been doing it a long time. It's pretty much second nature to me. I like to make up patterns of the shape of the fiberglass before I do anything. So this right here is a pattern for the little cradle for the UAT. So, and they're all large, so that's gonna be right like that, okay? Flipping the airplane over, and the tank's gonna go in here. I have a pattern for this piece of fiberglass, which is gonna go right here. And notice the fiber orientation. I'm gonna have the fiber orientation like that, and that's gonna allow it to curve around the tank without any cutting. It's amazing how well the fiberglass conforms when you get your fiber orientation just right. And then the third pattern we got is right here. That's gonna go on the wing right like that, okay? Now, to keep the fiberglass from sticking to the model, what I got here is it's just 2 layers. I already got it down because I did it last night. I got 2 layers of regular packing tape. I mean, nothing sticks to this stuff. It's super cheap. So I just stuck that on the wing here. And once again, the fiberglass is going to be cut large. So this is the shape we're going to use here, but the finished product is that size right there. It's red. It's easier to have it big and then trim it up to shape after it cures, okay? So I got a release here on the wing. We're gonna put a release here on the tank, and I'm not gonna wrap this with clear packing tape because it doesn't conform really well. So what I like to use is just regular plastic wrap. I call it a saran wrap, very thin. So I just got a piece cut here, and I'm just gonna mist it with some spray adhesive. Like that. And I'm gonna pick it up once I get my tank ready. Just sit there. I'm gonna pick this up, and I'm just gonna lay it over the tank. Now, if it's get some wrinkles in it, it's no big thing. Damn it. And what this is going to give me, this is going to keep the layup from sticking to the tank, because I really don't want to go through the trouble of waxing and putting more release on the tank. This is just super quick and simple. You know, a couple little wrinkles, it's not the end of the world, okay? So this is prepped, the wing is prepped. We're gonna do a little prep here around the UAT, and then we'll be ready to wet out our fiberglass. And tonight I decided not to bombard this video with the engine mounts. We're gonna do that on the next video. So on the UAT, we're just gonna wrap some clear packing tape around that also. And we're gonna put it just aft of the fittings here. Okay, and we're gonna work it down with a little stick. Get it in all the little crevices. Okay, so we got that there. That looks acceptable. I'm going to put a couple little pieces on the sides here because you don't want the wet fiberglass to stick to the foam, because it's going to give you some trouble getting it off. So I'm just going to slap a piece here, like that, and then another piece over here. Okay, so we got everything prepped and ready. Now we're going to wet out some fiberglass. So we're going to take our patterns. So what I like to do is I like to pre-impregnate the fiberglass, pick it up on a plastic sheet, and then just set it on my part, okay? So what we got here is just it's basically a clear plastic trash bag. It's like, I don't know, 2 mils thick. And I took a magic marker and drew around my patterns, okay? So the fiber orientation on my fiberglass is going to be running parallel with this grid here, and that's going to allow it to come out at a 45 on my parts. Okay, so we're pretty much done with them. I'm going to mix up some epoxy resin. Now I'm using the West system over here. If you guys don't have any of that, the Z-epoxy finishing resin would work fine. Or if you really wanted to, you could use like 45-minute epoxy or something, but I prefer to use something that's a little bit thinner. I'm going to mix up 15 grams here. And even though I got the pumps here, a lot of times you don't need a full pump. I got 15.4, so I'm going to shoot for 3.1 since this is a 5-to-1 ratio. Close enough. Okay, I'll turn that off. Now we're going to mix it up. Now we're going to wet out our fiberglass. Let me grab something here. This is a technique I've been doing for years. It works really well. It really controls the resin content of your fiberglass. 99% of the people doing fiberglass work, they always have way too much resin in their layup, and all you're doing is adding weight. So I put a little resin down and just kind of outline my parts. Okay, we're going to take one layer of, this is 3.16 ounce fiberglass. It's called number 1522. I'm just going to lay that right over the part. And now as the cloth starts to saturate, my lines start to show up. I add a little bit more resin. Don't need to wet out the whole thing because that would be a waste of epoxy. I'll leave it a little wet because I got one more layer going on it. That looks good. So once again, this my fiber orientation right here is 0.90, and my parts will come out at a 45 for that. So add a little bit more epoxy. I'm going to leave a little left in there because I got a use for that, and a little bit. All right, so we got everything saturated, but I don't know how it shows up on the video, but you can see there's a lot of shine on there, meaning it's way too resin rich. So what I do is I just fold my plastic back over, and I'm gonna work it down. I take a scrap credit card, and we're gonna get all this excess epoxy out. Now if you watch it real close here, you can see all that excess epoxy just squeegeed out of there. You just like snow plow it out. I mean, it's just excess weight and basically giving you no strength at all. All your strength is in the fibers. Okay. Haven't made any mess, haven't got any on me yet. That's the goal. All right, so now you can feel it. It's a good resin content. It should be, if you have 1 ounce of fiberglass, you shouldn't really have more than 1 ounce of resin in that. Okay, so I got it all wetted out, plastic on both sides. I'm going to take one of these rotary cutters. I'm just going to cut it out. I'll leave that alone. Okay, got them cut out. Okay, this just goes in the trash. All right, now I'm gonna put some gloves on because I'm gonna get a little on me. And I'm going to pull off one layer of plastic, and the other layer of plastic is going to hold everything together until I get it on the part. All right, so I got my 3 pieces here. I'm going to just pull off one layer right there. There. Okay, we got our 3 pieces ready. So this one's going to go on the wing. Get rid of that chunk. Okay, this one's going on the wing right here. And you really don't need any release on the clear tape. It's like a natural release. If you do want to rub just like a little bit of wax on it, that's fine. Just make sure it's a wax that does not have any silicone in it. So once again, you know, the fiberglass is staying together. Fibers are nice and straight. Resin content's really good. So I'm just going to lay that on here, making sure. Let me cut it down just a little bit. Making sure you stay on your tape. So I got some reference lines here where I want it. Once again, it is bigger than what I need. Okay, so just lay that on there. Now take a stick or something. Pull my plastic. So I've got 2 layers right where I want them. Now, if you want to take a brush and just kind of smooth out a little air bubbles. And what this is going to do, after it's all said and done, it's going to be a perfect conformal fit between the wing and the fuel tank where it's not going to go anywhere. So I got my second piece here. Oh, I messed up. That was supposed to go on the fuel tank. All right, I'll fix it. That's why it was too big. I'll just pick it up here. I'll throw that on the fuel tank. There, problem solved. So, it's going to conform right around there real nice. See that? That's all because the fiberglass is at a 45. If you try to do that with the fibers running 0.90, it's going to fight you back here. Okay. We're going to set this in the airplane. Hey, flip that over, will ya? There we go. All right, so we're going to flip that, set that in the airplane like that for right now. Okay. Now this is a piece that goes on the wing. Like that. So we'll get that plastic off. There we go. Shut this. All right, so now we got this part made, that part made. So now we're gonna fill that gap in between there with micro balloons and epoxy, and I'll show you how we're gonna do that. So we're gonna take our excess resin here. We got a little bit left here. We're gonna add micro balloons to that till it gets to be like a whipped cream consistency. And before you do this, you want to like dry fit your wing with your tank in there, and make sure you have a little gap between the wing skin and the bottom of the tank, because if you got any interference, this isn't going to work too well. I did a dry fit. I had like a about an 1/8 inch gap, which was just about right. So I'm doing my layup. So, you know, micro balloons, they don't weigh nothing. That's a pretty good consistency. Yeah, just about right. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put this in a syringe rather than troweling it down and making a mess. I use a lot of these syringes, these 10cc syringes. You can buy like a gross on eBay for, you know, $10. All right, so we got enough in there. Now we're gonna inject a line on the tank. Okay, layup looks pretty good. I might have it a little too thick, but that's okay. So we're gonna leave it high, and when I put the wing down, it's gonna go squish. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my gloves off so I don't get epoxy all over the airplane. So we got layup down there, got this layup here. This epoxy here is going to squish out and form that, and we're going to walk away and let it dry. So you got to feed my wires through. Okay, make sure the tank's up. Okay, now, I don't know if you can can you shoot down through there? So I'm gonna just screw the wing down with the screws they provide. And so next video we're going to do the engine mounts because it was going to be too much for tonight. Okay, get these started. All right, now we got a flashlight. If you look down in there, push the tank forward. It's squeezing out, it's going to be just fine. So, did this one last night. I mean, it worked out fine. So, before we flip the model over, I want to just go ahead and glue this back hatch together real quick. It's a good time for it to dry. And the way we do that, once again, I told you last week, we popped this one off. That used to be a permanent part of the model. We're going to glue it to here and make one hatch. And then eventually we're going to add some tabs up here that bond onto the wing to hold it to the wing. I just roughen this up like some 50 grit just so the glue bites in. And local guy turned me onto this E6000. This is like my go-to glue for glue and foam. I mean, it really bites in hard. It is an overnight cure. So let's see here. So we're gonna put that, you don't need a lot. Oh, that's enough. So I'm gonna put it together. And I like to pull it apart, let it string up, get some air. And I'm gonna put it back together. And we'll stick one of the screws that's supposed to go in there. And then we're going to set it in the model, and the model's going to pretty much hold it in alignment. And what I should have did, I should have put this on there first. That's okay. I know what we'll do. This tab's got to come off anyway, because if you don't take it off, every time you want to pull the hatch, you got to pull the wing. So I'm going to just take it off now. Problem solved. way I'm not disturbing my layup. And then all we got left to do is the layup around the UAT. Okay, let me pop a screw back there. This model really works out well because with this big hatch here, there's really no reason to ever be pulling the wing. I mean, there's really nothing to get to. You know, if the tank's working fine, just leave it alone. Okay. So I'm going to shove the tank just a little bit further forward. It's in its happy place. So now we're going to do the UAT. Now, on the UAT strap, I'm not going to pull the I'm going to leave the plastic on it while it cures, and it's just because it just worked really well the last one I did. So I'm going to pick it up with the plastic on it and just leave the plastic on it. Okay, plastic's on top here. Try to center it up. Once again, it is big, so it can be turned up. And I'm just going to tuck it down there. And now what I'm going to do is to keep it from like bulging up. I just got some steel clamping blocks on from my milling machine. I wrapped clear tape around it so nothing sticks. I'm just going to rest that right there. That's going to give me nice, crisp, sharp edges. Same thing here. There we go. So once that dries, we're going to get a part that looks something like this. You know, it's going to take a little bit of trimming. It's those blocks that I just put in there. They're giving me this nice crisp edges right there, which is what I want. Thing doesn't weigh nothing. And it is best to have something holding the UAT down because you just don't want it flopping all over the place. Okay, so that's about all I got for this video. Next video, we'll be doing the engine mounts. And after that, it's just some little nickel dime stuff. I'll show you how to get the mounts inserted into the foam. We're going to cut some slots. We'll show you how to make the mounts the right width. We'll set an engine in there and we'll be setting the tailpipe in there. Okay, until next video, that's all I got. Have a good evening.